All right, in this video, we are going to work on the following problem. Write a recursive method that prints its string parameter in reverse. All right, so start off with the class header. And then add a main method, public static void main string args. And then add a method, public static void and in the statement of the problem they say that this method should have a string parameter, all right, that prints its string parameter in reverse. So it has one parameter, a string. Okay, and so the base case here is going to be when the string, you can kind of do it either way, if it has length 0 or length 1. All right, so we would do something like this: if s.length is equal to 0, then we would just print s out. Okay, that would be the empty string. Okay, if it had length 0, which is basically just the string, right, with two quotation marks, two quotes, and then nothing in the middle. All right, and so this works. It may seem weird to do that case, and you could actually have it, if the length is 1, you just do this out. So this would work as well with 1. All right, so that would work when we run it. You could also do that if the length is less than 2. Okay, this will work, because if the length is less than 2, then there's really nothing to reverse there, right? So we could have it as the length, if s.length is less than 2. There's nothing wrong with the way I had it there before, but that kind of handles two cases, okay? So now the question is, okay, what would I do if the length was 2 or bigger, okay? So what you would do is print out the very last character. And the very last character, right, of a string is s dot, you could do it as char at, and then s dot length minus 1. Right, char at will pull a character out of a string as a type char, a character, right? And you just tell it what index that you want to pull it off from. So this would pull off the very last character there, right? So if I just increase this a little bit in size, you'll see that when I run this, right, it'll print out an R. Oops, if I remember to put a semicolon there. So this will print out an R. Okay. That's because, right, it will pull off the very last character and print it. Okay. All right, so that is what I want to do, but then I also want to print out the rest of the characters, right? But the rest of the characters, right, after the R, right, all I would need to do is to call the method again on that string. All right, so what I'm going to do is add the method call here, reverse print string, and then use the substring method, substring, right, to pull off the first part, everything up until the very last character All right, so that would be substring, and then 0 is the starting index, right? That would start at the beginning of the string, and then the very last index would be like I had here before, s dot length minus 1, like so. All right, and that is going to pull off everything but the very last element there. All right, so when I run it, you're going to see right there's the string printed in reverse. All right, let's take a look at a trace through, just very small, on a very small string. Again, to me, to understand this, it pays to look at and do these examples by hand, because it's the only kind of way that you truly understand what's going on. So, okay, so let's do, I'm just going to call this rev, so I don't have to write as much. And let's say cat. Okay, so I'm going to call the method reverse print string on cat, right? And so it's going to drop into this method here. It's going to check the length. The length is not less than 2, right? So it's going to do the else part. So the length of cat is 3, right? So you get this. If 3 is less than 2, that's false, right? And so it's going to do the else part. So in the else part, it's going to print the very last character. It's going to do print t. All right, so down here, I'll write the output. So it prints a t. Okay. And then what happens, it calls the reverse method, right, on everything, the whole string, but the very last part right here. All right, so everything but the t. And so that causes another method call to occur. All right, in this case, right, the first if statement there, the length of CA is 2, right? So you're going to get if 2 is less than 2. Again, that's false, right? And so it's going to drop to the else. And it's going to print the very last character, which is an A. So the very last character here is an A. So in the output, it's going to look like this. All right, and then it's going to call the rev method again, right? So reverse. And then it's going to chop off the very last letter of the input string and call the method with that. So the recursive call is now going to be this, C, right? So that's going to cause another call to the method. So we have reverse C, like this. Okay, and here we get if the length of C is 1, so we get 1 is less than 2. That's absolutely true, right? So it's going to print whatever the input character was. In that case, it's going to print C. All right, and so you'll wind up with a C right here. And then that method's going to end, right? There's no recursive call in the first part of this if, right in here in the base case. And so therefore this method's going to return back to this one, and this one's going to return, and this one's going to return. No information is returned, right? It just returns and ends those, and that's what you get, this printed like this. Okay? All right, that is it on this one. Let me go back to the code so you can take a look at it again if you want.